losing a lot of people in my office, but also office roommate is one of them, so you get the room to yourself. Oof. It's like, ooh, but also, ooh, but also, ooh. Yeah. I remember when I was in the game industry and they got rid of me. I was working at mobile games right before this job I have now, as doing the freelance stuff. When I was working in the mobile games, I was like, a lot of people were like married with kids and stuff, and so I was like, dang, if they were married with kids and they lived at like, I lived at like a secondary, third-dairy base of operations, right? And they lived at like the main base of operations, and they were married to kids and stuff, and so I was like, dang, I'm gonna get cut first, huh? I don't have a family to support. They're gonna cut me first. I'm not even a senior. You know, these other people were like seniors on the project. I was like, dang. I knew where I was gonna get cut first. I mean, and then it happened, so. Married with Kids, that's an old show. Is it? I've never seen it. They chose to leave, so it's not negative? Okay, that's good, that's good. Yeah. I mean, that's fair, you guys. I remember my manager was like, yeah, like, is it just you and stuff? I was like, yeah. They're like, would you ever move out here? And I was like, I could get a new job if I need to out here, so why would I move there? and he was like, that's fair. That's fair. They were like, well, the houses are really affordable out here. And I was like, yeah, let me just buy a house with my family. Oh, wait. You know? They were like, yeah, a new potential job lead from a friend. So, seems like a job, nothing exciting. That's good. Connections are like the best way to get a job. Yeah. They were like, you want to move away from all of your loved ones, all your family and friends, and work here? And I was like, can I work here but stay here? And they're like, anyways, we'll be letting you go. Yeah. And it was crazy because they gave everybody the option to move except for me. They were like, we already know you're not gonna move. They were like, anyways, you took the on-call for Christmas, so we're gonna need you to be on call in case we need a programmer for Christmas. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I gotta keep my job longer. And then my manager was like, hey, we're gonna keep you this long so we can ensure you get like your yearly bonus and stuff. So I was like, I in my mind I was dabbing up my manager because he was a real one. At least they knew. Yeah. It was really funny. They were like, hey, we're breaking this news to you. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll be good. And I started reaching out to some people and I was able to get my freelance stuff going. But, you know, I thought it was really funny that, I thought it was really funny though, because the guy was like, oh, you're taking this like really well. And I was like, yeah, because like, it's easy peasy. I'm like, I'll just get another job. I'm financially responsible. If I don't get paid for a few months, I'm okay. Like, I have like the whole rainy day fund like thing instilled into my brain and all that. So and I was like, you know, if I need snacks, like, streaming actually gets me enough money to get like snacks, you guys. If I really needed to, I was like, oh, okay. And the guy was like, oh, well, we haven't told everyone else on the team yet. We're actually gonna have this huge town hall and everything. So, could you just go home? He literally was like, you can take the day off if you'd like. We're gonna give it to you anyways, so you could, deal with the emotions. But, I was like, okay, well, I'll just go play video games then, and I'll be refreshed for tomorrow. It was so funny. I remember just being like, yeah. In fact, you can't fire me. Here's my 2 weeks. No, I would never do that. Did I at least get holiday pay? No. So, I worked in mobile games, and the stuff I worked on, the game was on 24 hours a day. The game was on 24 hours a day, and it was like negotiated into my contract, basically, that we would be doing these like, like the on-call was basically like if, you know, a server goes down, if something looks wrong, if, you know, they need something different to happen in the game. It's kind of like if I was like running like Teamfight Tactics or Cookie Kingdom. You know, imagine I'm running Cookie Kingdom or whatever. If an event is rolling out over the weekend when we are not at work, we do our best to make sure, you know, the Cookie Kingdom runs over the weekend when we're not there. But if something happens, there's usually a rotational, like, on-call team for that. Like a strike force, basically. And we would rotate who was on call for that. And it was just like part of your salary contract. Like in like the legality paperwork. No, I was compensated in my salary, chat. It was not a job where you worked hourly. So I feel like a lot of people get confused about that. I mean, I know there are special cases where you can get like overtime pay and stuff. Salary always feels like a scam. Not if your salary is high. If you're taking a yearly job and you're gonna be in charge of working late and sometimes working on weekends, then when they say that, you negotiate that into your salary. You say like, oh well, I need this then. If you expect me to do these requirements, like you have to fight for yourself. Define high. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about my financials and stuff. But like, if you are going to be like in a position where they're like, hey, like sometimes we'll have on call on the weekend and stuff, are you comfortable with that? You just negotiate that into your salary. Enough? Yeah. Whatever is enough for you. Whatever is enough money for you to do that. Some people need a job. So I met some people that got paid less than me and got paid more than me. And they worked the same amount of hours as me, okay? And it's really about how you sell yourself and how you get that price point and what your experience level is and how qualified you are and if you can get a job anywhere else in this job market, okay? I was not making 500k a week. I was not that. I was just a lowly programmer, okay? I was a lowly grunt programmer, okay? I just see my managers work for salary and ain't enough. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it really depends on, like, what job you do and stuff, too. She's making 2.6 million a year. Okay, Scritty, if I was making 2.6 million a year, don't you think we would have a few more models? Don't you She was making a humble K a year. Okay, Chris, you're good. You know, you should play baseball the way you're in ballparks. I am frugal, yeah. You know, like, jeez. That's crazy. That's crazy, yeah. Also, you have to remember, like, I like finished like comp science stuff. My first tech job was in the game industry, right? In mobile games. I did not want to go into the game industry. Okay? Every person I know is like, oh my gosh, I wish I could get a game industry job. This job just fell into my lap. It just fell into my lap. I was like, la-di-da-di-da, I really need a job. Uh-oh. My mom can't financially support me forever. You know, kind of thing. I was like, I need a job that pays, not just, you know, pocket money jobs. And then I got this job was offered to me. I didn't apply for it. They just like found me. They were like, hey, this guy was just like, hey, they just threw me on this team. You need a job? And I was like, okay. Okay. And he was like, yeah, just apply. Say I sent you. And I was like, okay. So he just like kind of like found me for his team because he was like, there's a lot of holes. And I guess HR was not finding people. So I literally have to thank this guy for helping me get my first job. But he was like, yeah. He like looked up a bunch of stuff. He looked up like a bunch of like details and like found my like profile portfolio based off all that. And he like doxed me basically. He was like, I need someone like this, and found my account and was like, hey, would you like a job? Then this is the importance of having a job. Like all your info when you're looking for a job, separate from your VTuber. But yeah, I got a job and I was like, yeah, I made it through all the interview rounds. And then HR had to call me and be like, hey, So you never, like, applied for this job? Could you, like, fill out an application, please? And I was like... Bro, Nane Niwa, I've never heard of anyone getting hired for a job without filling out the application. Like a corporate job. I've heard of people being like, oh yeah, you get hired at GameStop, just fill out the form and we'll get you in. But like, a corporate job? I had never... I went through all the interview. I went through like 4 or 5 rounds of interviews, and they were like, wait, so you got the job, but you never applied, right? I was like, oh, right. Aura. It happened to me with headhunters. Oh, Junior, do you have a nice job? What the heck? You got lucky there? But I think game industry is pretty cool. But, like, you know, I got laid off from the game industry, so I could... Even though it was mobile games, I like to be like, yeah, I was in game industry. But, to be fair, I worked with, like, a bunch of really cool, like, game industry veterans who had all these experiences and insights, and it was like really cool because I got to talk to them and they would tell me about like all of the stuff that they did and all of the projects they worked on, and it was really cool because a lot of people who work like project to project and stuff and all that, they end up going to games that like run 24 hours a day because those are like the more financially like stable. You know how mobile games are, guys. You know, that's where like people once they have like their wife and kids, they're like, oh yeah, you're jelly. It was not very glamorous, but I wouldn't say working in the game industry was glamorous, but I did work with this guy who worked one of the older people worked at Overwatch, and one of the older people on my team also worked at Blizzard. And a couple people I've worked with have they have like NPC characters in World of Warcraft. I'm not gonna say who, cause like it's like that's the breadcrumb trail that leads to me, right? But I thought it was really cool. I got to like work with like product managers and devs and all these people, and everybody really knew each other. It's like a tight-knit community. I know someone who I talked to that was really cool. He worked at Destiny. He worked for Bungie when it was like in the golden era, when it was like the good days. You know, he was like wifed up with the kid and everything, you know. He was cool. He was like, I try to read a book a year, and like shared his book list and stuff. It was very... I love people that are like that, always trying to enrich themselves and stuff. Yeah, before the dark times. And then I remember a lot of the higher ups, they're not gamers. They're normies. They're normies with money. They're just rich normies. And you go to these like team building events, and it's like, what games do you play? And it's like, I love Candy Crush. I love mobile game. I love mobile game. I love mobile game. And I'm like, no one's gonna say. They basically play like their game and they're like competitors' games, you know? No one said like, oh, you know me, I like to play. One of the guys that was like, he wasn't like the high up people, but he was like middle of the higher ups. He was like, oh, I play some Apex Legends. I was in a meeting with him one time, like a one-on-one. I remember he saw my microphone. He's like, that's a pretty good looking mic you got, and you got your headset on in the meeting. He's like, and my microphone was in the background. I was on the work laptop because I had like the swivel set up, and I was like on my little gaming headset. I just take my USB stick and swap it to my work laptop. I was just like, yeah, what's up? Yeah, so nice to meet you. Da, da, da. And he was like, that's a nice mic you got in the gaming headset. You play video games, Nane? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you stream? I was like, well, I mean, everyone streams like as a hobby. Like I streamed at the time. I was streaming to like maybe 4 people. And I was like, I streamed to like 4 people online, sir. It's nothing crazy. Just, you know, just me and my friends. He's like, ah, that's cool, that's cool. He's like, I play Apex. He's like, he hit like the highest rank one season. And I think he had like a couple kids and a wife and stuff. He's like, if you ever want to play Apex. I was like, I don't know if you're that high elo. And apparently, some of my product managers played League of Legends. And they were like, Nane, we should play League. And I was like, if you're as toxic in the meetings, for crunch lines, like deadlines, as you are there in League, I'm good. I looked at one of my PMs, because I remember they found out I was a gamer or something. I can't remember. I brought my Steam Deck to like the team like mandatory team builder whatever thing we did, you know, and I'm playing Slay the Spire on the Steam Deck or whatever, or you know, and I'm just there and they're like, Nane, is that Slay the Spire? And I'm like, yeah, you know. They're like, you don't want to go to the pool or anything? Nah, I'm cool just chilling in my vacation wear, all black, big black sun hat, you know, playing Slay the Spire outside. I'm like, I'm just cool gaming outside. Good morning, good morning! But yeah, it was so funny. I remember, like, one of them played Pokemon Unite, and I was like, I would play some Pokemon Unite. I'll think about it. I'll think about that one. I had played Pokemon Unite before, and I was like, wait, I might go back to Pokemon Unite if you guys want to play. And her goth sundress, nah, it was more like a skirt blouse combo, but yeah. But yeah, I was just like, yeah. I remember I was like, we were drinking. We were at the bar night event, and we were drinking, and someone brought up League and stuff. They're like, you play League? I was like, I got a Riot account, but I forgot the password. They're like, we should play anyways, make a new account. I was like, ah. And I looked at this guy, and he just gave toxic player vibes. And I was like, I bet, is he the toxic one on the team? And all the guys laughed, and they were like, he is the tilter. He is. I like clocked who the tilter was. And there's this guy I worked with who was always so polite and so nice. And I was like, I bet you tilt, but I bet you like never show it. I bet you internal tilt. You internal tilt and are super positive to play with. And he was like, I am. Yeah, and I'm just over here like, I'm just like getting their League of Legends dynamic. I'm like, I'm good, guys, actually. But I'm so glad that we could talk about League during this work. I remember I talked to this guy. But no. There's like this dad. All the dads would talk to me at work events, you know? Because like, I'm such a like, you know, dude programmer girl, you know? They're like, yeah. How's like the new blood doing? You know, the new kids, next gen, whatever. I say a lot of like Zoomer stuff. You know, I'd be hit the 6-7, so they love talking to me like, oh, what's the latest stuff? But I talked to this guy, and he was just really interested in like how things were going. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone's so cool. I'm like, yeah. And he talked about how he worked on some Barbie game. And I was like, oh, what Barbie game did you work on? Because I might have played it. He was like... And he said some Barbie game I never heard of. And I was like, ooh, I'm sorry, but she'll never be her. And then I named the Barbie game I played that was like super iconic. And he started laughing. How to turn someone to dust instantly? No. Like, it's not a bad thing that like all the people were like super old, like that I worked with. I just wanted to like let you know what the dynamic was. A lot of the programmers that they had like on my team and stuff, a lot of them were like older than me. And like had like a wife and kids, and so they were like all really like respectable people. Some of the PMs like they didn't have girlfriends. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, you want to play League of Legends with me? I'm good. You know, I was like, I don't know what their intentions are. I don't talk to them day to day, not all of them. But like the older guys, they're always so funny. They're always just interested in like just hearing my worldview and just, you know, talking about like their insight in the industry. They always love like mentoring people. Older programmers love mentoring people, especially people who know how to carry themselves and like talk to people and have a little bit of charisma. It's really fun to like kind of yap with them. You get to hear about how the industry was like 20, 30 years ago. You know? And you're like, what? Yeah, especially once you get close to retirement. Yeah. Yeah, it was always such a good time. But the guy was laughing because I told him his Barbie game. I'd never heard of it. It wasn't the GOAT. he was giggling though. He was like, okay. and then my one of my coworkers, she was an angel. She was like literally a goth angel. She was my goth fairy godmother that protected me in life. But she was like, hey, that's like a really high up person, by the way. I was like, I just told them the game. I just told them the game they worked on was mid. Oh no. But she was like, no, it's fine. They thought you were funny. I was like, okay, good. I was like, I would talk to everyone as if they were the same person. Because that's like the point of these kinds of things. But I was like, I called his project mid. Yeah. And then like the guy that like played Apex that found out that I was like kind of like a gamer. They're like, oh, she streams. And this other guy was like, really? And he came up to me and he put his hand on my shoulder and he was like, look, let it simmer for a year or two. Quit your job. And I was like, huh? I streamed to 4 people. I streamed to 4 people and this guy was like, quit your career and become a full-time streamer. He was like, hey, I knew some people that streamed in the game industry. They left it to keep streaming. And I was like, sir, I don't know what this man told. I don't know what he said about how my account was doing. I was like, huh? And then he was like, and then like another time I was like, I can't believe you told me to quit my job that one time when you were drinking, sir. And he was like, huh? He was like, wait, don't you stream to like a lot of people? I was like, I streamed to like 10 people, sir. And he was like, oh, never mind. He was like, you should link your stream though. We'd all watch. And I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, guys, I stream to de-stress. And if I bring coworkers into my chat, I'm gonna get really stressed out. You're almost to 1 million though, true. Once I hit 1 million followers, how many are we at on Twitch? What's my goal? My goal is how many? Oh, only 994,417 followers to go. I forgot how to read numbers that big, okay? For a second, I was like, whoa. Yeah, pretty good. Thought he was best friends with PewDiePie and Mr. Beast or something. It was like an older guy too, like one of my seniors. I was like, sir, I'm not who you think I am. Whoever you think I am, I'm not her. I think he heard my voice and then compared me to like some other anonymous content creator, and I was like, I don't know who you think I am, but I am not her, sir. Oh yeah, that YouTube Twitch stuff goes crazy. Yeah. Well, a lot of people who like actually play video games in our industry like understand how Twitch works. There was a guy who I don't know what his ad is or anything, but before I was on the team, my goth fairy godmother was like, oh yeah, there was this guy who did art and he started doing art streams and he sells prints of his art and stuff, and he quit. He quit to do streaming and art. But he does like really good art. And I had seen his art before. I forgot his at, which I'm not gonna say anyways because it too many breadcrumbs back to Nane Niwa. But yeah, there was like already someone at the office who had quit to become a streamer. I was like, no, I don't have that kind of pool chat. These old people thought I was gonna leave the company. I was like, no, I need this job actually. Okay, everyone chip in 25% of their income. That'd be crazy. I can't tell you how many wealthy people you've just shot the shot with. That's true. I think I'm done yapping. That was like my work stories are crazy. I don't even know how I should be sharing them, but here we are. I feel like it's been long enough. Oh, is that a phone holder? Separate from your webcam. Stop. I was using webcam tracking for a bit though. But yeah, the game industry is very interesting. There's a variety of people, different things. Kind of crazy. IRC, there is some metric on streamer earnings, and the majority of full-time streamers earn less than minimum wage from it. I could be misremembering some details though. Yeah, I think a lot of people do this, like, have other things that are supplementing. There's like a whole breakdown for it though. Sponsorships are pretty huge. Yeah, sponsorships are like the big heavyweight carries of being a full-time streamer, I feel. You like have to have sponsorships. You just like, unless you have like a really generous community, you like have to have sponsorships. It's like sponsorships make up 20 to 40% of a streamer's income, yeah. And I don't have any sponsorships, so maybe this year, maybe I'll try. I've gotten a lot of game keys. That's pretty pog. It's pretty cool to get free games. I've gotten a couple PR packages. That's pretty sick. Thanks, guys. With viewers like you. But yeah, it's like sponsorships, Twitch, and YouTube, like subscriptions based stuff, and then ad revenue from everywhere else, right? That's like the main 3 factors. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to do. By the way, all this stream is sponsored by Dino Nuggies. No, it's not. No, it's not. I've seen the Dino Nuggies. Can I finish my pistachio muffin? I caved. I bought the HEB pistachio muffin. It is good. It is good, by the way. If you were curious if the HEB pistachio muffin was good, it is.